If you'll raise your right hand for me, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Just have a seat right over there. Be careful, there's a step up when you get there. Mr. Young, proceed when you're ready.
Yes, sir. Kylie, go ahead and just state your name for the record.
Callie Benoit?
Okay, and you're Crystal's daughter, correct?
I am.
You testified in the trial, right?
Yes.
Is there anything you would like the court to know prior to sentencing as it relates to how this has affected you, and anything you would like the court to consider in sentencing?
Yes, I have a paper.
Okay, and you're soft-spoken, so you'll have to speak up a little bit, okay?
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
So I would like to pick up where I left off on the centipedes crawling up my wall in the basement when I woke up. The basement you would never finish for me and my sister because you can't object me now. I watched you shut my brother's head in the front door and leave him screaming on the porch when my mom wasn't home. You took my light bulb away because I accidentally left the light on when I left. I watched you take my door off because it got shut a little too hard. I accidentally shut the seatbelt in your door of your truck, and I remember you got so mad and you took the seatbelt and you tied it in a knot so I couldn't use it. You never cared about anybody but yourself. You say you love Eli so much, but if you really loved him, you wouldn't have murdered his mother. You wouldn't have took him from his siblings. I babysat him all the time, even when you were home. I watched him, and you just ripped him away from us, just like you did our mom. You also wouldn't have tried to replace his mother with somebody with the same name. You ruined his life, and now you will forever sit in a prison cell and think about how you ruined your son's life and how you murdered my mother. You are nothing but a lowlife. You took a mother of 5 children away. I know you don't care because that's just who you are. You have no heart, because if you did, you wouldn't have murdered your son's mother. I want you to know I will forever show up here to make sure you never get out. And for you lawyers, I want you to know you try to defend a man that murdered a mother and a guy who helped a mother that had children. She was amazing, mother. My mom didn't deserve any of this. My mom didn't get to see me go to high school, proms, graduate. She won't see me get married, have children. And if you all have children, which some of you do, you know how important that is to children, for their parents to be there and show up in those moments. She won't be here for any of those because the man you tried to defend murdered her. I hope you go to bed at night and remember who you tried to defend. That's all.
Any questions?
No, sir.
Any questions?
No, Your Honor.
You may step down, thank you. Call your next witness.
Brooke Bryan.
Brooke Bryan. And if you'll raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? You may have a seat over there, thank you. Please be careful, there is a step up when you get there.
Brooke, would you please introduce yourself?
I'm Brooke Bryan, Crystal Rogers' sister.
Sister, yes, yes, ma'am. Okay, and is there anything you would like the court to consider prior to sentencing?
I want everybody to take a look at what these 2 men have done. This is not something light. This is murder. They've took a life. So,
Is there anything else you would like to say?
I have a whole page.
Okay, you're fine.
Okay. And I've waited a really long time to speak to you. I have so much to say, but there's not enough time here today. I have so many questions, but I won't waste my time because you wouldn't give me the answers anyways. You walked through this town thinking you were untouchable, cocky, and arrogant. You walked around knowing you murdered people and thought you were going to get away with it. You were so close, right? Thought you had it. Thought you were untouchable. But you weren't. You are nothing but a coward. You and your whole family. We all know you and your family had something to do with my dad's murder. A coward who couldn't even face him. All because he wanted answers to bring his daughter home. You have run lives, but don't get satisfaction because you didn't ruin ours. You ruined yours, your sons, and your families. You get to spend the rest of your life in prison, right where you belong. I hope you enjoyed the last 10 years, the 10 years that were the best of your life, right? Without Crystal, those were your words, not mine. You thought you were smart, but that didn't get you anywhere, did it? That college degree doesn't matter. You can try as many parenting programs as you want, but you'll never be a good father. You may provide for Eli, but you ruined his life. You can say to Rhonda, to yourself, and to your family that you want to give Eli the best life possible. But let's be honest, the best life would have been with his mom and siblings present. All because you didn't want to share Eli, because Crystal finally saw through your lies and who you really were, and she was leaving you. You are a terrible father. You took your child's mother away. You took his siblings from him, and let's be honest again, you, with the help of others, took his papa away too. You took his whole family away just to have him to yourself. The child you claim you love so much, one of the reasons you killed my sister, his mother, you, Brooks, took all of that from him and destroyed his life. That's more than selfish. That's sick. You're a sick human being. Then you dated another woman with the same name, Crystal, who's here, and tried to replace Eli's mom. You told him she was his mom. You even used Eli's eye condition as an excuse for tinting your windows, when in reality you tinted them because you didn't want anyone to see what you were doing that night. Another reason you didn't want us around, because Eli would have known the truth. That child loved us. He loved me so much and loved being with me. He would call me, Snapchat me, leave me messages. I took care of that child like he was my own. You ripped his life apart. You made Eli struggle. You can lie and tell him things now, but one day, he'll come for the truth. And one day, we will all be there to let him know who you really are and what you really did. All Crystal ever wanted was for you to love her and treat her with respect. Instead, you cheated on her, lied to her, even left her stranded one time when I had to come get her. And you planned her murder. You treated her other children differently than Eli. And even though they weren't your children, they were still Crystal's. No child deserves that kind of treatment just because they weren't biologically yours. You knew when you started a relationship with Crystal that she had those children, and you should have shown them love and support. But once again, it shows your character, who you really are, a coward. Your mom says Crystal wasn't good enough. Well, let's be honest here. Your family wasn't good enough for her. Your mom's an evil woman who raised evil children. And like I said before, evil never wins. The truth always comes out. Crystal was a wonderful person, not only my sister, but my best friend. She always wanted to be there for others, help others, and she would do anything she could for anybody. She was a good mom. She took care of her children. She took care of your son, her son. She didn't deserve what you did to her. This could have been handled a different way. But I can promise you, Crystal's name will never be forgotten. You may have taken her away and my dad physically, but you can't take their memories from us and the times we shared. Those will always continue to live on. You can go through this whole entire appeal process, but you'll spend the rest of your life in prison. I hope you have the worst life possible, because that's what you deserve. You and your family. And one day, I'm sure your family will join you on that side, and I can't wait to see that day. Oh, and by the way, you were right about one thing. Me and my family will be at every parole meeting, fighting for Crystal. And we'll make sure we fight hard enough that you'll never spend another day outside of a jail cell. You get everything you deserve. And Joey, Karma did all the talking for me, so.
Any questions? May step down. Call your next witness.
Sherry Ballard.
Sherry Ballard. If you'll raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Thank you, ma'am. You'll have a seat over here. Be careful, there is a step up when you get there.
My name is Sherry Ballard, and I am Crystal's mother. And I would like to say thank you to Judge Sims for being such a fair and honest judge. I'd like to thank Shane Young and Teresa Young and their whole team for doing such an outstanding job in prosecuting this case. I'd like to thank you to Steve Carey from the FBI and his whole team who worked nonstop to get me to the prosecution's office. Last but not least, thank you to everyone else that was involved in between, who without all of you, there may not have been a guilty verdict. Thank you to all of you for your hard work and your dedication to my daughter's case. Oddly, Brooks, I would like to thank you. I would like to thank you for not fixing my daughter's tire for her, because that was your first big mistake. And thank you for looking at me. When you thought you had planned the perfect murder, I guess you're not as smart as you think you are. I sit here and I try to make sense of what the last 10 years of my life have been like. I don't think I would ever have the words to explain that to anyone. I no longer live the life I used to live. The changes you have caused in my life, Brooks Houck, is astronomical. I knew after a few interactions around you how fake you really were. I only wish my daughter could have seen it sooner. I remember one time when you got mad at me when you didn't come home to watch the kids like you promised Crystal you would do. But they were smart enough to call me when you didn't show up. I remember coming to the house and it was already getting dark and you had just got there. I was so upset and told you how I felt about you leaving those kids home alone. One of them being Eli, your own son, who was only around 2 years old at the time. You had the nerve to tell Crystal that I disrespected you. You have no idea how much I truly disrespect you today. I've watched you treat my daughter with the most disrespect a man could ever treat a woman. I remember a time when you sat at my kitchen table for hours with her daddy, asking him how, and every question in the book on how to build a house. Never once did my husband get rude with you, not one time. Instead, he sat there for over 2 hours, tired and ready for bed, still answering all your questions. How much respect did you show Tommy Ballard? And let's not forget the reason you were at my house to begin with. The reason you were there is because you didn't show up on time again to pick up your child so Crystal could get to work on time. So she brought her kids to me. Your second big mistake was underestimating the love me and Tommy had for our daughter. Crystal was such a sweet and loving person. She was a great mother. She deserved so much more than you could ever have given her. For your mother to have the nerve, Rosemary Houck, to think that my daughter was not good enough for you is a joke. It's more than I can comprehend. It's truly unbelievable. Let's talk about the times you treated my daughter and her kids with such rude behavior. Leaving them in the dark when you would remove their light bulbs from their rooms because they forgot to turn off a light. They were kids. Taking the bedroom door off the hinges because they forgot to shut the door. Cutting off the water supply on purpose so they didn't have running water. And I know that because my daughter called me. Leaving my pregnant daughter sitting outside your driveway because you wouldn't give her a key to your house when she first moved in. Brooks, I listened to the phone calls you made while in jail, and you want people to feel sorry for you? You don't deserve that privilege. How pathetic is that? I also remember bringing the kids home from CCD class, and I would stop and get them pizza and a soft drink. And they would hide in their room because they told me you would eat it all. For 10 years, I have suffered the pain of losing my daughter. Never once have I seen you shed one tear, not one tear. Never once have I heard you say you were worried about where she was or what might have happened to her. You sat there worried more about your family's name than the woman you shared a child with that you supposedly cared about. For years, I took all of your arrogant and negative treatment when I saw you in public. Your sarcastic attitude that you would rub in my face, knowing I was fighting for visitation for my grandson, and I couldn't say anything because you always used it against me in court. I took all that with my head held high while I was dying inside. Every day I watched your family go on about their pathetic lives while mine was being ripped apart. I can say that the only thing I feel for you today, Brooks Houck, is contempt. I pity that you don't even have God in your life. Your brother Nick Houck, or am I supposed to call him Nicholas, mentions to you in your phone calls to him that you shouldn't worry because we're only here for a little while. Well, I can tell you that you better worry because when that little while runs out, you won't be answering to your mama, your brother, your sister, the courts, or any of those people. You will be answering to the most important person of all. So yes, you should be worried. I heard your conversation about not being a religious person, and you were ashamed to ask God for anything. That's so sad. That's so sad. I can tell you that when Brian Butler was doing your closing statements, I was praying the whole time. You can admit your guilt, Brooks, and you can tell me where my daughter is, and that's your forgiveness from God. Proverbs 28:13, he that covers his sin shall not prosper, but whoever confesses and forsakes them shall have mercy. That's your forgiveness. I pity you mostly because you have lost a child, because I know how that feels. Maybe now you have a very small portion of the pain I have had for the last 10 years. The difference, though, is that you chose to lose your child. I had no say in losing mine. I miss my daughter every second of every day. I can say that one day I feel like I will see my daughter again. I'm not so sure you could say the same thing about your child. I pray that one day you will grow a heart and have the decency to tell me where my daughter is so we can have a proper burial for her. You owe that much to your own son, and my daughter deserves that. Her kids deserve that. I do hope that every day you're incarcerated, you see my daughter's beautiful face, and you think about the evil you have committed and how many lives you have destroyed. I pray this haunts you for the rest of your miserable life. My daughter was so much better than what your mother made her out to be. I know for sure she would never have taught her children to grow up to become murderers. The depths of pain I have felt over the years is more than I think a human body could ever withstand. Still, I sit here today because all the pain that you have inflicted on me gave me that much more strength to prove how guilty you are and what a worthless human being you are. God willing, I pushed on. And I taught my kids and Crystal's kids how strong a family could be when the pain becomes overwhelming. Brooks Houck, you took a mother from 5 kids who are young and dependent on their mother's love to survive. You stole their whole future away from them. You know, me and Tommy never once said in court you were a bad father. Never once. You can say that we never did that. I look back now and can I forgive myself for that? I don't know. How did I ever say that? Who takes a mother from their child? I will never understand that, Brooks. You stole their whole future away from them. Somehow these kids didn't let the ugliness you inflicted on their lives destroy them. They pushed on and lived each day in memory of their mom. This was not easy for them. No child should lose their mother the way you took theirs. You had no sympathy or concern for anyone but your own selfish being. You took your own son's mother from him. You erased every picture and every memory Eli had of his mother. You kept him from his loving grandparents and his siblings and a whole entire family that loved him very much. I guess my definition of love is much different than yours, but I have no doubt your actions have proven this to be true. Brooks, you had zero concern for my daughter. She came into my kitchen a week or two before you murdered her, and she was so upset. She said to me, "Mom, I can't leave because he will take Eli away from me." That's how much my daughter loved her son. I tried to tell her you couldn't do that because she was a very good mother. She proceeded to say, "But he has money and a house and he will take him." I didn't understand at the time why she was so scared, but after hearing Christina Hawley's testimony in court, where she heard you say no one will take Eli because you have money and that's not going to happen, it hit me right in the face. I clearly understood where my daughter got that conception. I still think about the conversation every day. In the long run, Brooks, you didn't get Eli either because you chose to murder his mother, and now you will spend the rest of your miserable life in prison where you belong. How does that make you feel? Because I know how upset my daughter was even thinking about losing her son. In your conversation to your sister Rhonda, you mentioned getting into a parenting program. I honestly don't know what parenting program would even, I don't know how they know how to respond to you. If you loved your son so much, you would never have murdered his mother. You have tried to turn Eli against me because I have fought for justice for my daughter, his mother. One day, he will be old enough to figure out everything I am saying is true, and that you, Brooks Houck, is responsible for the death of my daughter. Brooks, you also mentioned that when you got the conviction, the only thing you and your partners in crime could come up with is that the jury knew more about this case. That's an insult to the man and woman who sat on that jury every day. I watched these people taking notes and asking questions, so their decision could be based on the facts and not hearsay. Have you ever considered that maybe just once people saw through all your lies you've been telling for the last 10 years? The day I met you at your truck, you knew exactly what happened to my daughter. You weren't concerned about her at all. Instead, you went about your daily life happy she was no longer in it. You, Brooks Houck, are narcissistic. You are so self-centered, and the only person you think about is yourself and your own needs at the expense of others. You thought you could break me down, leave me desperate for answers and closures, and just crumble. You are a bully. You try to classify others as inferior to you and unworthy, just like you did to Crystal. You thought your hostile humor was funny, just like when you switched the bullet out in Crystal's gun when you all were trap shooting, so it would kick back and bruise her shoulder. I didn't appreciate your so-called humor. How you found an attorney that would take your case and defend you is so hard for me to understand. Then again, we all heard about the money that you paid for just a witness. I guess the saying, money is the root of all evil, is true. And what about your mother, Rosemary Houck? There's another saying that's true. They say the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. I feel as much contempt for your mother as I do for you. She should set a good example for her children that a mother could be proud of. Instead, she taught her children hatred, greed, and evil behavior. Your mother, Rosemary Houck, is a true disgrace of what a mother really is. The real reason she didn't like my daughter was because she was not raised to be dishonest, greedy, or evil. How could she lead her children to the destruction and murder of my daughter? How could she steal a mother from 5 children, even her own grandchild, She never even blinked an eye when her son was convicted of life in prison. I don't understand that. Did she honestly hate my daughter so much that she would sacrifice her own son? Please don't misunderstand what I'm saying, because I know, Brooks Houck, you had your own selfish reasons for murdering my daughter. Brooks, what about your selfish lying sister, Rhonda Houck? She too is a disgrace to mothers around the world. I believe her and her entire family knows what happened to my daughter. She pretended to be friends with my daughter until the day that Crystal got that cheap embroidery machine. Then she got mad and wouldn't talk or even speak to Crystal because she thought she was infringing on her so-called business. How sad is that? She wanted a reason to dislike my daughter so bad that she grabbed at any opportunity. She knew my daughter would not participate in any of her family's sick and evil ways. I guess I'm going to ask you these questions, Brooks. Did you ever think of how my daughter felt when you murdered her? Did she feel any pain? Did you make sure Crystal knew what you were going to do to her? Did Crystal beg for her life, knowing she had 5 children to come home to and family that really loved her and depended on her? Where is my daughter? I can tell you, I've thought about these questions many days and many nights. I honestly don't know why I'm even asking you these questions, because I know you're not even man enough to own up to what you did to my daughter. I know your sister won't, by her actions and her lies on the witness stand when she was under oath. She cared nothing about my daughter. So disrespectful of her, even to the point that she named her own son Eli, just to be mean and ugly to my daughter. Your sister mentioned on the stand that you all had family functions at the farm, but your brother, Nick Houck's girlfriend, Amber Bowman, said under oath that she barely knew Crystal. What kind of family dinner is that you sit at the same table and you don't even know each other? Not the kind that your sister tried to portray on the witness stand. She talked about being scared and threatened, but wasn't it her and your father who confronted my youngest daughter and proceeded to rear-end her, causing her to wreck her car? But your family felt threatened? Brooks Houck, you talked to your brother on the phone, and you mentioned the journey your life is taking. Do you think it might have something to do with your actions in murdering my daughter? You also mentioned the last 10 years were the best of your life. Is that a coincidence these years were the years after you murdered my daughter? Not in one phone call that I heard did you mention that you were innocent, not one time. You show no feelings or empathy for my daughter. Your brother Nick mentions to you this is like a dream. Well, this has been a nightmare for me that you and your sick and evil family created for me and my family. You mention with your pathetic voice that you want to be brought up to your son, while at the same time you erase everything about my daughter from him. I can say that your dream has become like my nightmare, because I will never give up fighting for justice for my husband. He was a true epitome of what a real father is like. I will personally be at every parole hearing you will ever have, and I will bring an army with me if that's what it takes to keep you behind bars. You also mentioned you got convicted because of the mayor, the governor, and the attorney general. I can promise you that's not why you were convicted. You were convicted because you murdered my daughter. I pray you never see the light of day. I pray that you wear that turtle suit every day with no underwear. I pray you will only have your sick little plastic spoon. I pray you will always have to sleep on that mat on the floor. Oh, but I forgot, as you quoted in your interview, you are a full-blooded male. So you should be able to handle prison life with no trouble. I myself don't honestly see that happening because you are a true coward. You murdered my daughter and then you hid behind all your pathetic lies. As far as your new girlfriend goes, you're not as smart as you think you are. You think she's been so loyal to you? Ask her about the initial CH. You think she loves you so much? Maybe you should ask Mommy to keep a real eye on her and what goes on while you're sitting behind those bars. Brooks, you mentioned you didn't understand the plan for your life. I can promise you this had nothing to do with God's plan. This has everything to do with the choices you made for your own life. I think it's about time you admit to that, and now you will suffer the consequences. I hope you enjoy your new life in prison because I feel like I've been there for the last 10 years of my life because of you. My only regret is that Kentucky doesn't have the death penalty. But then I think death is too good for you. Even if I never find my daughter, I know my daughter's with God, and that brings peace only He can give me. My memories of my husband and my daughter you can never erase from my mind. I was very blessed with my time with them. I don't think you will be able to say the same about your family. Hell is not a place where one feels peace. And you and your whole family will be united there one day. Like your brother Nick said, don't worry because we're only here for a little while. Your third big mistake, Brooks Houck, was killing my daughter. Now you're going to pay the ultimate price while you sit behind bars watching the whole world just pass you by. I hope you enjoy every second of it. Brooks Houck, you may have received a lifetime of prison, but I received a lifetime of grief and pain. You deserve yours. I don't deserve mine. Have fun with the rest of your life. I pray you receive as much grief and pain as you have caused me. And before anyone complains, I am wearing pink. Pink was my daughter's favorite color. And I think that is my God-given right to remember my daughter for the beautiful person that she was, the person that you murdered, Brooks Houck. And as far as you go, Joey, I did not know you. I don't know you today. I'm sure there was a time when you were a little boy and you thought about growing up and what you were going to be when you grew up. I pray to God it wasn't a murderer. I pray that wasn't what you had in mind. I would think not, but you could have saved my daughter. You could have just come forward and spoke up and you could have saved my daughter. And she would still be here for every one of those kids you see back there sitting in those chairs. And thank you. That's all I have to say.
Questions? No, sir. And you may have a seat in the courtroom. Any other witnesses?
Casey Ballard.
Casey Ballard. You raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, you'll have a seat right over there. Be careful, there is a step up when you get there.
Casey, and just go ahead and say your name for the record.
Casey Ballard.
And you're Crystal's brother.
Crystal
correct?
brother.
Okay. Is there anything you would like to inform the court prior to sentencing?
Yes, first off, I'd like to thank you for letting me get up here and speak. I'd like to thank everybody that worked on my sister's case. Brooks, told you to stay good. Told you we'd get justice for my sister, no matter what. Let me ask you something. Very first time they searched your family phone, I ran into you right after that. You asked me something. You remember what you asked me? You looked me in the eyes and you asked me one day, you said, you asked me how good of a job I thought the sheriff's department did searching your family's farm when they was looking for my sister. You looked me straight in the eye and you smiled and said, they did such a piss poor job, they could step right over your sister and never even knew she was there. Well, let me tell you something. They did such a great job, they put you in jail for the rest of your life. See, life ain't working out like you thought it was, is it? You're gonna be in prison for the rest of your life. Your mom, your brother, your sister, everybody else in your family's walking free today, but you're still in prison. Ask yourself, was it worth it? The money that you gave to these clowns right here beside you, you could have gave it to my sister for child support, she'd still be here. Ever since my sister went missing, you've always rode around town and taunted us. You've always smiled at us. You've always confronted me. You've always come up to me, tried to speak, harass me, and everything. You've always smiled. But today, at this hearing here, I get to go home with my family, and you go to prison for the rest of your life, and I'll be the one smiling when I go home. I hope you enjoy your life in prison. And Joey, they can take you and wheel you out there to the dumpster because that's about all you're worth. And that's all I gotta say.
Any questions? Sally, you may step down.
You can sit.
Any other witnesses?
Barbara Roby.
Barbara Roby. If you'll raise your right hand, do you swear or affirm you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Have a seat right over there. Be careful, there is a step up when you get there.
You please state your name for the record.
Barbara Roby.
And you are Crystal's aunt, is that correct?
Sir.
Yes, ma'am. Is there anything you would like the court to know prior to sentencing?
Can I wait to the end on that?
Ma'am, I'm sorry, I
Can
can't.
I wait to after, at the end on that?
Yes,
I'll
that's
get that at the end. Okay. First of all, I would like to thank you for allowing me to speak. And I would like to thank you, Shane and Teresa, and anyone else that's been involved in getting these men convicted for murdering Crystal. Joey. What you did for a little money says a lot about the person that you are. I believe in karma, and it looks like karma has already taken care of you. Brooks. During one of your phone calls, you said, they've taken my life from me. Wrong. The only lives that have been taken are Crystal and my brother Tommy Ballard's life. You took Crystal's life, and I hope every day for the rest of your life you suffer for your choices. Crystal didn't deserve what you all did to her, and you didn't deserve Crystal. Crystal was a beautiful person inside and out. She was very sweet and loving and would have done anything for anyone. She would have done anything for you, Brooks. Anything. She was a great mother, and no matter what, Crystal Maupin, Rhonda, or no other woman will ever replace her. You tell Eli you love him, but that's not the truth, is it? The truth is, if you really loved him, you wouldn't have murdered his mother. You wouldn't have stopped him from seeing his siblings. But you not only took them away from him, you also took his father. You will never be able to attend any sports he plays in, any other activities he's involved in. You will not really be in his life. You not only destroyed Crystal's older children's world, you also destroyed Eli's world. You want to use Eli to try and get your conviction overturned? That says what type of father you really are. And you call that love? Eli may not know the truth about what happened to his mother now, but one day he will. And when he does, he may never want to talk to you or come see you again. I can only hope that one day soon, your co-conspirators, your mother, Rosemary Houck, and your brother, Nick Houck, will also be charged with not only their involvement in Crystal's murder, but also for the murder of my brother, Tommy Ballard, because I believe that you all are responsible for his death. Maybe then you will feel a small part of what you and your family have put Crystal's children through. Because if your mother is charged and is found guilty, you will probably never see her or talk to her again. Let that sink in, Brooks. You asked Nick to make sure and bring you up to Eli often. What about Crystal? How often do you bring her up to him? The person he adored, the person that he was always with until you all murdered her. Not a day goes by that I don't think about Crystal and what you all did to her. I have had so many sleepless nights, and still there are times when I pick up my phone to call her, but I can't because you all murdered her, and you had no right to do that. You are a narcissist, self-centered pig, and you care about no one but yourself. You're one of the most evil people I have ever met in my life, and I hope you rot in prison. You didn't reach out to God before because you're too close to the devil. There's nothing but evil in your heart. You thought you were so much smarter than everyone else, and you thought you could beat the system. But if you were smart, do you think you would be here today? Pretty dumb if you ask me. And I have a question. Since you've been in jail, do you still walk around with your chest stuck out and that head held high with that smirk on your face? Because I assure you, when you get to where you're going, you won't be doing that anymore. You will be treated like the coward you are and shown no respect. You have no remorse for killing Crystal, no feelings about it, and you're not sorry. The only thing you're sorry about is getting caught and going to jail. I assure you, I will do everything I can to make sure that you spend the rest of your life sleeping in that steel bed and living in that concrete box. As long as I'm alive, I will attend every parole hearing you have. If you want God in your life and you're so desperate, start by telling the truth. Confess to what you have done. Tell where Crystal is so we can put her to rest. If not for me and my family, do it for Eli. He deserves better than what you and your family are doing to him. I guess that bad tip got you all jacked up. Your Honor, I would like to request that you give Joey the maximum sentence that you can and give Brooks life with no eligibility of parole, and all charges be ran consecutively. They took Crystal's life, and our family will never see her again. They still have their lives. They made their choices. Crystal didn't have a choice. Thank you.
Any questions? You may step down, thank you.
And
The other-
one final witness is
final witness.
Ashley Miller.
Ashley Miller. Raise your right hand, ma'am. Do you swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Okay, you'll have a seat right over there. Be careful, there is a step up when you get there.
Ashley, would you state your name for the record, please?
Ashley Miller.
And you're Crystal's oldest daughter.
Yes.
Okay. You can go ahead. Is there anything you would like to let the court know prior to imposing sentence?
I just want to thank everybody that's had a part of Mom's case. And then I also would like to say something to Brooks.
Good. You got to speak up a little bit. You're soft-spoken like
Okay.
your sister. Okay.
Sorry. I just want to thank everybody in the court, and I would also like to say something to Brooks. Brooks, you took my mother's life and tried to erase her from existence. For 10 years, I've lived with pain and anger and emptiness. You thought you could silence her, but you can't. You never will be able to. You tried to destroy Mom. You can never destroy her. Mom wasn't an ordinary person. She was remarkable and still is remarkable. She was a strong, independent woman who worked tirelessly to make ends meet for them kids and for me. She never complained. She always made it work. She was devoted to her family in every way that went beyond words. She stood by you when you didn't deserve it because she believed in love and family and in giving people chances. She gave you loyalty and trust that should have been returned with respect, care, and kindness. Instead, you repaid her love with betrayal, violence, and cruelty. Because of you and your family choices, we lost her. Her laughter, her hugs, her guidance, and her presence at every milestone. You stole birthdays and holidays and countless small everyday moments that made life beautiful. She missed out on Eli. Eli adored her.
remember how she taught me to be a strong person, even when life felt impossible. She taught us to fight for what we believed in, to never let anyone diminish our worth, and to care for the people we love. She was the reason I know how to love and nurture my children today. And yes, Eli has a niece and a nephew. And I also have 2 bonus babies now. Every day, my little boy walks in our living room to see a picture of my mother on the wall. He don't even get to know her. He only gets to hear about her. But he knows that's his mom, Memo Crystal. Through me and through my kids, her spirit will live, and through my brothers and sisters as well. She continues to guide us, teach us, and remind us of what it means to love fully and fiercely. Your action left scars that will never fully heal. You took from us the person we loved the most and created a hole in our hearts that nothing can fill. 10 years have not dulled the pain and the anger. I hope you get life without parole. I hope that you slowly rot away in prison, because that is the only measure of justice left for your life that you stole. No punishment can bring her back, but it can ensure you never hurt anyone the way you hurt my mom and the way you hurt all of us. But hear me clearly, you did not win. Even though you hurt me in your own house and you didn't get charged with it, you did not win, because you're losing today. We carry her story on forever. We will honor her every day through our words, our actions, and our lives. She is not gone. She is everywhere. She is always guiding us, inspiring us, and reminding us to stand strong, even in the face of the unimaginable loss. No matter how long you sit behind bars, she will always be greater than you. Her light will never dim. Always remember, you didn't win, and Eli will know the truth one day. And Joey, by the way, Karma got you. You're in a chair. And that's all I got to say.
Any questions? Okay, ma'am, you may step down. Any other witnesses?
No, sir, Judge, I would just like to not acknowledge, and at the table is the 2 lead detectives on this case, Brian Luckett and Tony Harden with KSP. Yes, sir, thank you.
I could see Mr. Houck's counsel and the Commonwealth please at the bench. Here in a few minutes, the court will be pronouncing sentences in this case. One thing I need to let everyone know is certainly, Mr. Lawson, Mr. Houck, you all have a right to appeal to a higher court. Under Kentucky law, you have a right to a direct appeal to the Kentucky Supreme Court. I note that I have already received a request for informa pauperis for Mr. Lawson, and I will note that he is indigent and certainly qualifies for the assistance of a public defender at the Supreme Court level. So when I sign the judgment, I will also sign that request appointing DPA counsel to represent him, okay? One of the things I have heard here today is numerous people ask that the defendant Houck be sentenced to life without parole. That's not an option in Kentucky law under this conviction. That is not something the court can do. Also, the jury had recommended the life sentence plus 5 years, and under Kentucky law, that's not allowed either. There's a case, Gobin versus Commonwealth, that says the most time someone can get is a life sentence in Kentucky. I have always followed jury recommendations. This is not something that only time I've rarely ever not followed a jury recommendation, but when it's contrary to Kentucky law, I have no choice not to follow that. Certainly, I have considered the request from counsel for a sentence less than the maximum of life. The court believes, based upon the circumstances of this case, that the jury's recommendation is appropriate. So at this time, it's the sentence of the court in regard to Mr. Lawson's case that he be confined in a penal institution, therein to remain for a period of 20 years upon his conviction to conspiracy to commit murder. It's a further order of this court that he be sentenced to 5 years for complicity to tampering with physical evidence. It's the further order of this court that sentence shall run consecutively for a total sentence of 25 years. In regard to Mr. Houck's case, it's the sentence of the court that he be confined in a penal institution, therein to remain for a period of life upon his conviction to murder, principal, or accomplish, and 5 years for complicity to tampering with physical evidence, with those sentences running concurrently for life, which is in accordance with Kentucky law. I will take the two matters under submission. There's pending motions. I hope to have all the paperwork filed on Monday, and at that point the appeal process can begin. Once I have signed the judgments and any other orders related to this case, the clerk's office is going to send copies to counsel. Does anybody have any questions before we conclude today? Anybody?
No, sir.
No questions? All right. Good luck to everyone. That concludes the hearing.